Dai.
VinitalyTour.com presents.
Again, with Vinitaly US Tour 2011, we are with
Gregory Del Piaz of Snooth.
Raye, a brand action team. Yeah, they're especially in social networks connected about wine. First thing I ask you, why is the actual impact on social network and internet on wine selling, especially Italian wines in the US?
I am a contrarian. I don't think that social media has a particularly big impact on wine selling. I think that one of the big problems is the focus on wine selling, and that the wine trade has to understand that promotion in social media is a different type of promotion. What you're doing is promoting messages, not products. So to be successful with social media, with wine in social media, the best thing to do is to find the people who are speaking about your product and promote them. And you promote it's more of a brand awareness message than an actual product message.
Yeah, I would agree with Gregory in this sense that it's all about engagement, not numbers. And it's a question of getting people into a conversation and then participating by contributing something of value. But at the end of the day, I would argue the point about it's not selling. Selling is all of this put together. The sale is just the consummation of all the promotion that happens before it.
There's a strong debate on the internet about the differences between old critics and famous wine spectator, wine enthusiasts, and new young bloggers. What do you think is the best to reach the market, or neither do the best?
There's no market. There are different markets. There are people who grew up with Robert Parker and the Wine Spectator, and they like Robert Parker and the Wine Spectator, so you need to reach them, to reach those markets. And then there are these unknown critics, the new critics, the social media critics, who have their own audiences. But you know what? In 1982, Robert Parker was one of those critics. He was an unknown critic using a new media. He actually typed up notes on pieces of paper and handed them out in a retail wine shop. And he became a big critic because many people followed him. There were not a lot of choices, too. But I think you have to be very careful in saying that they're different. The Robert Parker old media, me and the new media, we're really not different. We're different ends of a continuum. And I think if you really want to reach a market, first you have to identify the market. And if you're selling $100 bottles of wine, the best way to reach that market is Robert Parker and the Wine Spectator. If you're selling $20 bottles of amphora-aged organic wine, the best way to reach that market are bloggers who are passionate and enthusiastic about those sorts of natural wines.
Yeah, I think it's also a function of where these different audiences go to for information. For an older generation, like me, for instance, who read magazines, Parker Wine Enthusiasts, to report to a younger generation, often called millennials, they frequently don't subscribe to those magazines, and so the only things they're exposed to is what's available for free on the internet, which is stuff like Snooth, which is where they participate in conversations with people just like them, whose opinions matter more to them than Robert Parker or Wine Spectator.
Talking about the instrument, now there's over 400 applications for iPhone and iPad connected to wine, and there's a captcha and this one. What really works in this kind of instruments, technically talking?
I got the answer to that.
Yes. Yes, you said it very well. I don't think any work very. I would say I'm positive that none of them work very well. That's the problem. We want an app to work well. We want an app to satisfy our needs for wine. The technology is not there yet. Snooth, the company I work for, has an app. It has image recognition software. So if you take a picture of the label, and we have over 500,000 labels in our photo inventory, if you take a picture of the label, it'll find the bottle for you, and then it allows you to add your notes to Snooth's site. And that works for some people. Some people want to do that. Well, again, the problem is like trying to define the market for critics and reviews. There's so many different markets today, and everybody is used to getting something that satisfies their very specific needs, that until they find that app, in this case, They will test and experiment, but they won't commit to any apps. So I think right now there are some apps that work very well, but very few of them. Those apps have a small market, but there's no winner yet.
Yeah, I think the issue is when somebody comes into a wine store, generally speaking, they may have an idea of what type of wine they want to buy or what country they want it to come from or what region, but they won't necessarily have a specific brand. That's in contrast to spirits or beer, which are much more brand-driven. So oftentimes the consumer is influenced on what they see on the shelf, which is the reason that reviews and ratings are so important, because that may be the only information that a consumer sees, that and what's on the back label. For those who are more dedicated or more interested, they'll look more on apps, and they'll also look on sites like Snooth to do the research, to find something specific, and then go look for that at retail. The challenge is, retail store may only have, in the U.S., maybe 5,000 SKUs.
In extreme synthesis, can a company now, or in 10 years also, survive without internet, only having a basic website?
It depends on the size of the company. A small company, yes, they can survive. A big company today, or a medium-sized company today, has to have a website to be competitive, because there's so many other companies of a similar size, a similar quality, that are getting their stories out, that if you don't get your story out, if you don't give consumers someplace to go to get their questions answered, they're going to go someplace else, and somebody else will answer those questions for them.
I disagree. I disagree, and I think the fundamental thing is you don't need the website anymore. You need a place where people are going to go for the information. So it is more valuable to put your information where more people are going, Facebook, than to try and become a destination and get people to come to your website. For every one person you could get to come to your website, you may have the opportunity to talk with 10,000 or 100,000 on Facebook.
Last question. Your opinion about Vinitaly World Tour and Vinitaly US in 3 adjectives?
Frenetic, late, and colorful.
Tasty. We're going to find that in a bit. It's not an adjective, but it's a proper name, Stevie Kim. Okay? And
She will be better than that.
that's all I got.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.